Thank you for joining us, Ibu Ika. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for the generous introduction.
Aw, isn't
Oh,
she
of
sweet?
course. Now, Ibu Ika, we're so excited to know more about this greenwashing and sustainability in fashion industry. But first thing first, can you actually explain what greenwashing is?
So, like you mentioned before, yeah, it's basically a strategy to mislead consumer and public in general by promoting a brand that is green, sustainable, and environmentally friendly, but without having evidence to back up the results and outcomes. So, greenwashing basically firms engage in two behavior simultaneously. First is the uh, it's positive communication about how a brand promote environmental performance, and then on the other hand it's a poor environmental performance itself. So both of them are contradict to each other, and the common green messages can be found as eco-friendly, natural, green, or organic, or even recycle. The claims can be found in the clothing line, in the logo, in the name, campaign, CSR initiative, or even in annual report.
Okay, well said, Ibuika. Now, as you mentioned that we're talking about greenwashing equals to environment friendly, and also reducing, reusing, and stuff like that. But sometimes, actually common people actually think about, talking about this environment friendly or eco-washing or green washing is only implemented in products such as that we daily use, right? Sometimes like, plastic bags and etc. But to this point, greenwashing is actually here and there. And obviously industry lines of fashions are now like everywhere talking about this greenwashing examples. Now, especially for fashion of, the industry of fashion itself, how do you actually think, or what are the examples of greenwashing in the fashion industry that we need to be aware of?
So what is the commonly found example is a campaign that clothing brand asks the consumer to recycle their clothes.
Ah, yes.
So recycle your clothes, give it back to our stores,
Right.
and we will give you discounts.
Okay.
Right, like 25% or 15% discount. But it actually it's as an incentive to make the consumer to buy more clothes to shop after that, because you got that 15% discount. And then at the end of the day, the collected clothes, they don't end up recycled,
Okay.
or they don't use it, but they just send it to global south or to developing countries, and it
Okay.
will also end up as trash. So
Right.
I think that one is like the most common practice that we can see everywhere.
Okay, so we can see it everywhere. But so if I am going to state this as a statement that, okay, so what they are actually do by giving us 15% discount, we ladies, we love discounts, Ibu Ika. So when we hear 15% discount in return of, us giving our clothes there, and then 15 discounts are applied, well, is it true if I'm saying that it is just a trick from the store? Do you agree that?
Yes, it is. Because unless you show, so the problem with greenwashing, it's just a campaign, but you don't tell the whole process.
Right.
You don't being transparent what you are doing with the campaign after that.
Right.
Or the claims is not supported. For instance, after that, journalist wants to know about the campaign, the end result of the campaign, but you don't provide any more information. So you just give discounts. But at the end of the day, you need to tell like how many collected clothes and then what you are using them again. Did you, if the company use the product to make other clothes or just dump it to other countries.
Right.
Now, it seems like they wanted to get the benefit of doing this sort of marketing without actually doing the work, right? I'm very curious to know, why do these companies actually do greenwashing instead of actually doing the work when they know that when they need to be transparent, then people actually will know that they're actually not doing the work?
So greenwashing, like you mentioned before, it's found in every sector. But let me tell you why this is important in the fashion industry. First of all, fashion industry or global apparel manufacturing, it is one of the largest manufacturing in the world after the consumer electronics and auto parts and accessories. Second of all, according to the UN, the fashion industry estimated to be responsible for 8 to 10% of global carbon emission. So it's not only from the clothes itself, but it's from the material source, supply chain, washing and wash. So because of those two conditions, the industry is now facing a growing calls from investors, from consumers to boost their sustainability measures. But you know, the fashion industry, it's a whole process of supply chain. And then meeting these calls means to engage to the entire value chain in climate action. So it needs a hard work and a commitment. Otherwise, greenwashing is the instant way to answer those calls. So if you ask me why do the company do greenwashing, I think it's easier. Instead of if you want to change the practice in your produce and supply chains, you need to do lobby, you need to talk to the supplier, talk to the government. It's a long process, and it takes time. Otherwise, you just do the greenwashing or like claims.
Because you're also pressured by the competitors, right? When you're doing it yourself and it takes a longer time, you might get behind from your competitors that are already doing the greenwashing itself.
Okay, true. Now, you mentioned that actually if the company is actually, the fashion industry is actually doing the greenwashing in a correct way, Ibu Ika, they need to actually like recycle everything from scratch again, right? And to produce a new clothing, for example. But some brands of fashion is not actually doing so. Now, you did mention that some of the brands or stores are actually just sending away the clothing to somewhere else in this part of the world. Now, in my point of view, obviously, if consumers, we know what that actually store is actually doing, obviously that will bring down its reputation. Now, how do greenwashing can actually harm brands' reputations?
So you mentioned it also at the beginning that Gen Z and millennials are now paying attention to this issue. Sustainability is now the trending word between the millennials and Gen Z. And then we can find now, thanks to social media, Gen Z or millennials that they can have their own tribe. Like they respond to it by many activities. For instance, one is the most popular is slow fashion. Because they're paying attention and they don't like what the company is doing, so they advocate for it. And then they one of the movement is slow fashion because they don't want the company to keep telling them to buy, and then they resist by advocating that we want to recycle our own clothes. So why not wearing the clothes from 10 years ago or 5 years ago? If you go to social media, we even find Gen Z movement that they promote to use fabric from tablecloths, from curtains, and then they use their creativity to make a really good fashion, and then they want to advocate that. So if the company, fashion industry especially, they don't paying attention to this, then the consumer and the public in general will respond to it. An interesting study during the Black Friday discounts, when they use the sustainability or they use the green campaign, it can attract consumer who is have a general interest to sustainability and environment, but the trick will not affect the consumer who is already paying attention and have enough knowledge about it. So in the short term, the greenwashing strategy might work, but in the long term, it can harm your reputation and it can make you lose your consumer.
As you mentioned also, I think Gen Z and millennials, I myself is a millennial, so I know that we're very critical, and we're almost sort of like a detective on these products, these brands. We want to know where they come from. We want to know the transparency. Now, how to avoid greenwashing? What are maybe some of the basic brand marketing tactics to avoid to ensure that, yes, you're actually going towards sustainability, but without taking the short way to just do greenwashing? What would you recommend for brands?
Yeah, I think the first and the most important key for this is the communication. Any kind of communication from the fashion industry, either marketing communication or reputation communication, it needs to be transparent. So you need to increase transparency related to your business, and then it also means to communicate accurately and within context. You cannot just say that we use this or we have this green fabric or green line of clothing, but you don't put it in the wider context. Because if you put it in a wider context, maybe it's not that green as you claim it to be. So that's the first one. And then the second one, I think this is also important because the many stakeholders, emphasize on this. It's to disclose the annual product volumes. You know, this is one of the most information that many fashion company are resistant to give, because if they tell you the volume of their production, you will be amazed. Like, how come there's so many clothes production in annually, and where are they going? So I think that's the first thing. Disclose the information, and then be transparent, especially not only about the clothing itself, but also about the supply chain and everything.
Yes, that is very true. But Ibu Ika, as you know, as millennials maybe, or you know, youngsters who are actually very critical to this greenwashing, I would want to know, in your point of view, Ibu Ika, how can we, as you know, people who are, you know, millennials, know more about this greenwashing? So what are the strategies that we need to be aware of, and we need to actually boost the awareness of this greenwashing? Because sometimes, just make it going to be a little bit short. Sometimes, obviously, the store, let's just say brand A, okay? Brand A say, oh, we love environment, okay? We love everything green, so we are actually selling green products here, okay? Greenwashing and whatever. So, as a consumer, sometimes, you know, people can be fooled just by seeing that campaign, right? So what knowledge do we need to have in order to be more aware of this green campaign that the store is actually like implementing?
That's a good question. So my suggestion is follow the path. follow the path of that brand, yeah, from their production to the what they did with the extra clothes, yeah. So not only read the label,
Right.
but you also need to understand the information, other information about it. So when they say green, you need to ask more, be critical.
Right.
What do they mean with green? What do they mean by sustainable?
Yeah.
Is it the sustainable only recycling the clothes? But what about the washing and then the waste? What about that? What about what they do with their workers? What they do with the water consumption, because you know that producing clothing material needs a lot of water. So follow the path and then be critical for whatever they are putting or whatever the fashion industry claims.
Right. So I guess it's about having an awareness of understanding of the end-to-end process of creating a cloth. It's not just when you see a cloth in the store, but it's actually going through such a long process from the creation to the selling itself. And for us, it's very important to be critical also about each of the steps and to make sure that we understand what is going on in each of the steps as well. All right, Ika, thank you so much for your time and for your insights. This will
Thank
be very
you.
beneficial for everyone, especially for ladies. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Bye, Vika.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Rika.
Bye-bye.